Good morning gamers. For this video I'll be talking about a video game, something I usually don't do on this channel. This time it's a good one, a great one even, and it's not even fully released yet. It's a free demo on itch and Steam called Peripeteia, a game that I've been quite eagerly anticipating for the better part of 2 years, Jesus Christ. And why have I been looking forward to it? Peripeteia is a single-player, first-person, third-person cyberpunk shooter role-playing stealth immersive sim that's inspired by sims from studios like Ironstorm and Looking Glass Studios, like Thief, System Shock, the funny JC Denton game.
Oh my god, Daddy!
What a shame.
You play as Marie, a white-haired cyborg anime girl who must make her way as a gun-for-hire, at least it beats your previous job as military surplus. Beginning the demo, you'll start in a seedy bar, with the bartender asking you to find a keycard. He can also give you a gun to help, but it's a Makarov with only enough ammo to fill
4 magazines.
Remember that sim tag on Steam? You can pick up a box and begin to use the best feature of the game, mantling. It allows you to grab any ledge in the game and also letting you avoid combat encounters. You can further improve your mantling with augments. Marie has a small selection of augments that gives you a variety of abilities, and using them costs energy. Replenishable by eating a Polish delicacy consisting of old Soviet energy tubes. Most are self-explanatory, but you might be thinking, what's Tomoptic Camo? This lets you turn practically invisible for an unfortunately small amount of time by masking your body heat and physical form using fiber optics. At this point you'll probably notice that Peripeteia has quite an unusual aesthetic. Maps are very brutalist, buildings being sky high and consisting almost entirely of concrete. Everything is coated in several layers of filth with textures at crispy 144p, much like authentic Polish architecture. Then there's barely functioning Cold War weapons and whatever the fuck this is. Buildings are an obvious inspiration, but another inspiration for Peripeteia's style is this little known manga called Blam. Yes, I call it that to piss people off. And no, this will not be the last time you hear me mention Blam on this channel.
We'll see you're properly honored for this.
Just a little heads up. Combat is an essential part of any shooter game, and Peripeteia's combat can be described as a jank. Many weapons kick like beetles, with scoped weapons emphasizing that you missing their first shot was a skill issue. Weapons are about what you'd expect from a once communist state. Pieces of shit that range from Chinese clone AKs, splash shotguns, M16s, Mosins,
PKM,
or AKs, SKSs, along with more unique weapons like the VSS Ventures and the APS underwater rifle. Why does an underwater rifle exist above water? Turns out machinery and metal joints don't like it when you fire a 120mm long steel spear at them. It can also pin enemies to the wall like Half-Life 2's crossbow. Many of these weapons are used by the NPCs scattered around the place, but the special ones are hidden around the map to find, and are sometimes the better guns, if not the best. Enemies don't fire straight at the player, as the spread on their weapons is much wider than the players. That doesn't mean they can't snipe you. Hiding and leaning around corners helps, and shooting from a dark area trivializes fighting, as they don't know you exist until they're on top of you. Finding ammo for guns is fairly easy. Pick up the rifle from the dead, remove the magazine, empty the rifle, insert the magazine into the gun, accidentally click the gun instead of the magazine slot, click the magazine again, insert the magazine correctly, rinse and repeat. This does take some time, but on the bright side, you get to play a game of Tetris while sorting your inventory. Unfortunately, ammo for the good weapons is quite scarce, most is being found in random caches around the map, or rarely on enemies. You can also inspect items from the inventory or holding right mouse button over an object with no item equipped. Some of the item descriptions are pretty funny and do build in the game world's history nicely, including Marie herself. A staple among immersive sims and more so recent titles is interesting and branching level design, and Peripeteia's level design is pretty fucking good. Excellent, in fact. Despite the huge size of the last 2 maps, it isn't that hard to go exploring, only to somehow end up in a large area that you just previously visited, or even the starting area. The massive size of the maps doesn't feel like much of an issue, and that's mostly thanks to mantling and Marie being fairly speedy without her augments. The game looks initially grimy, but you can find places that have a nice vibe to them that I'd often just stop and look around, taking in the view and radiation. Throughout the levels, you might spot some mission-related scenes. During the tower level, you're asked to blackmail or kill some local gang leader. I chose the latter several times just to fuck around with the APS rifle, but to get the blackmail, you need to do a little parkour and cross a long pipe where you'll find the blackmail next to a shortened PTRS-41 anti-tank rifle. The blackmail talks about someone, most likely the gang leader, posing over some gay-minded girl. You can find her lying down next to a cabinet with a G3 and a few magazines. The only issue is, you're now stuck there with no way out. Something I didn't know until recently is that the sword that Marie spawns in with has a rather unique ability. Instead of skewering some impoverished pole, stabbing a wall embeds it into a surface, acting as a climbable object. When the sword wants to stab the fucking wall, there's a room in the final level on the highest part of the map that has this crusty yellow machinery with a wall that's just high enough to be out of reach while using augments. As a schizophrenic gamer who has enough hours in Prey 2017, I knew there was a reason for it to be just out of reach. It was calling out to me. I knew there was something there. Lo and behold, there in the top gear was a 50 cal machine gun, just chilling. Update. Peripeteia now has a new and updated demo that has the map count, but goddamn that intro level is fucking massive. Among the myriad of new changes to the designs, weapons and feel, it does a better job of naturally teaching the player many of the basics, unlike the original demo. The new cast of characters are interesting. A guy growing potatoes in an empty pool, a girl looking after her father entombed in an iron lung, an annoyed desk jockey, an underground priest, and a busted gynoid, among other characters. Along with the new cast of characters and level, there's also a few new weapons added, and the augmentation system has been changed. I don't want to talk about it too much more, as it would add another 5 or so minutes that I don't want to edit. The only other thing I can say is, play it. It's a free demo like last time, so you don't have anything to lose. If you do want to go back and play their previous Kickstarter demo, you can just download it off their itch.io page for free. While this video wasn't some well-organised review, this was an intentional decision and not because of the schizo delusions of an unmedicated man. The schizophrenic review is for the full release. In the meanwhile, I want you, the viewer, to play this demo while you're waiting. Not only to increase my chances of being seen by the developers and given a review copy, it's an experience that few games can really replicate, and it's best to experience it firsthand rather than vicariously through this quote-unquote review. It's hard to come by a game that's rife with boogie, autistic anime girls slaughtering commies to breakcore with empty Cold War weapons, and I want more. With that said, have a good evening.